Have you ever wanted to experiment with a Mutable plugin outside of the character creator? Well, in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to swap meshes in Runtime and work with dynamic clothing transform. It's not a perfect system, but by the end, you'll have all the tools you need to start building your own. No time to waste, let's get started. Okay, so we're going to start our project by starting with a 5.5 third-person project. But before we do, make sure that you've installed all these plugins. Now, whenever you open up a new engine or you install a new engine to your setup for Unreal Engine, you always have to reinstall the Metahuman plugin, okay? So, with that being said, let's move on. Okay, so for this next part, you're going to need two Metahumans that have no clothes on, but they only wear the flip-flops. And then the other two metahumans you're going to need are going to be ones that are clothing, one male and one female for each set. Now, to make things easier, what I've basically done here is I've made the male clothing in blue and I've made the female clothing in pink. And these are the four metahumans we're going to do. Now, for the male and the female, I've named them Adam and Eve. So that's pretty much all you'll need, and I'm going to show you how to import that. So let's keep going and let's move on. Okay, so let's go ahead and set up our project now that we're here. Go to Edit, Editor Preferences, and right here on this first page under Asset Open Editor, we're going to go ahead and do Main menu so that way it can open up, instead of opening up on top of itself, it'll open up in tabs across. Next, we're going to go ahead and go back to Edit, go to Plugins, and we're going to need to install, make sure several plugins are installed. Let's go ahead and start with the Metahuman. Let's make sure it's installed. Because we've installed it to the engine, but we got to install it to our project. Okay, so right here, we're just going to hit the checkbox, and we're going to say yes, and you can see it's been populated. Next, we're going to need the Mutable plugin, and we're going to go ahead and grab the Mutable plugin here, hit yes, and while we're at it, we can grab the Groom extension. But for this tutorial, I'm not going to be putting hair on the models because just to save time, I want you to get the basic concept of what we're doing here. All right, now that that's on, next we're going to need to type in Groom and make sure it's set up. So it appears to be set up. Should be everything that we need. Now, we can just go ahead and click Restart Now. Once the project is restarted, we can go ahead and we can close this out. And then for the next thing we're going to need to do is we're going to need to import our metahumans. So just go up here in the corner here and click here, and we're going to use the Quixel bridge. Okay, so now for me, I have several metahumans already installed. I went into the Metahuman creator and created them, or you can download some. Just make sure ones have something like I dictated before. So I'm just going to click on my favorites here. Now these have already been pre-downloaded, so you're going to want to go and set yours up. Again, I got Adam, Eve, Vivian, and Cooper. Vivian and Cooper just have color coordinated clothes, just to make it easier when we're downloading stuff. So let's go ahead. We're going to select one of our characters. And since I've already got it downloaded, we're just going to first select from medium to high optimized. And that's the one I'm going to use for this particular instance. And we're going to do that for each character. All right, before I enable the missing plugins, I'm just going to finish downloading my characters because we're going to have to do multiple restarts with this. So let's go ahead and I'm gonna move that up a bit, grab this here, and grab the other two characters. Now, to verify you got your characters, just go ahead and hit the content drawer, and you can see you got the Metahumans folder, and you can see here I've got Adam, Eve, Cooper, and Vivian. So now, with that being said, we can close this particular part out, and we're going to just enable the missing plugins. And Yes, right here, we're going to go ahead and select the restart. Okay. Okay, so now that that is restarted, we're going to probably have to restart a couple more times, about 2 more, and I'm going to show you why. So we're going to make sure we're inside the Metahuman folder. We're going to click on the filter, and we're just going to do the skeletal meshes. Okay. And as you can see, we can't see them because they're partially not populated. So we're just going to go ahead and we're going to do a left click here, hold down the shift button and do a left click on the last thing here. And we're just going to right click on any one of these and select edit. Okay. Now, once that's happened, you're going to go back to the where it says the third person here. We're going to right click on this right here, and we're going to close all tabs to the right. And we're going to enable the missing plugins again. And then, of course, we're going to restart. Okay, now that we restarted, we're going to go back and we're going to do the exact same thing again while we're in our Metahumans folder. We're going to go ahead and select the skeleton meshes. And as you can see here, we still can't see them. So in order for us to make them visible, we're going to do the exact same process we did earlier, which is the left click and shift and select all these. We're going to right click and then we're going to select edit once again. All right, so now it's populated. We're going to do that one more time. We're going to right click and on the viewport, and we're going to do the right, close all tabs to the right because we don't need to have them all open right now. And then as you can see, we can see all of our different meshes. Now, we're going to need to unselect this, and we're going to have to pick our meshes. For some reason, Unreal Engine doesn't import the actual materials on, so we're going to add those on right now. So by holding down the control button and doing a left click on the female pants, the shoes, the actual shirt, and let's see what we got. Oh, and the pants here for the male pants, and the male shoes, and the male shirt. So you should have 6 things right here. And what we're going to do is we're going to right click and select edit, and that's going to open those up. Now, from that point, we're going to go back and we're going to just go ahead and we're selecting this here, and we're going to reset the filters. We're going to go into, we're going to need to open up the characters. So we're going to go into Cooper, and we're going to open him up. And the reason for that is we're going to open him up and we're going to do the viewport for this. So we're going to select the viewport, and so we can see the character. We're going to also do that for the other clothed female. So go back to our Metahumans, go to Vivian, and we're going to double click and open this up as well. We're also going to go to the viewport here. Okay, so with this being said, we're going to select the actual one article of clothing, and right here, if you look under where the material is, we're going to go and we're going to use this little magnifying glass, and we're going to select this. So just go ahead and click that. Now, while we're here, we're going to actually need to change the name a little bit. So we're going to select one of our meshes here, and we're just going to hit F2. And where it says simplify, we're just going to change that to female. And this will make sense later because we're going to need these materials for tagging. So let's just go ahead and hit F2 again, and we're just going to do that for all of them. Just make sure you put female at the end of these. Okay, great. So now what we want to do is we're going to select, well, we can do a compile and save. Okay. And what we can do is we're going to select, see this F medium? That's just, the F just means it's for female. So we know this is the female shoe. We're going to select the content, and we're going to select right here where it says feet. We're going to highlight that, and then we're going to use this little arrow here, and it's going to populate the material on there. Now for this, we can just do a save, and then we can close. And we're just going to go down the line and do that for the other 2 meshes. Okay, right here, we're going to use the legs, and we're going to populate this. Select save, and we can close that. Now we got the female top for the final one. Select it, make sure it's highlighted, and then we're going to add it. Now, we don't need to add anything to the second element because these are simplified mesh materials, so it should be fine. Hit save and close. Now, we're going to go ahead and we're going to close Vivian out because we don't really need her anymore. But we're going to do the same process for Cooper. So you're going to select him and the exact same thing. So I'm just going to do it. Here we go. Okay, so now that that's all done, we can go ahead and we can close Cooper out because we don't need him right now. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on and go to the content folder. And what we're going to do is go back to right here at the content folder, and we're going to create the customizable object. So let's go to, it's in alphabetical order here. It's going to be under mutable, and we're going to do a customizable object. Now for this customizable object, we're just going to call it CO underscore Metahumans. Okay. Control Shift S to save. And then what we're going to do is we're going to double click and open it up. Now, you're going to see here, we're going to start with this base object, and we're just going to call this, we're just going to give it the name of, let's see here, character base. So let's go ahead. So, okay, so all you're going to have to do is, let's see, we're going to go to the node properties here. We don't need to do anything with this object properties, just the node properties. So we're going to change this to character base. Like so. Okay, so now that that's been done, we can scroll out a little bit. And we're going to need to add several things called skeletal meshes on the graph. So we're going to start out with typing in skeletal mesh. Okay. And we're going to do this multiple times. So while that is highlighted, you're going to do a Control D, and that's going to cause you to duplicate that. And so we're going to need these two here. So this is going to be for the male mesh here. And we're just going to copy several of these. So highlight both of these, do a Control D again. And then what we're going to need to do is, we're going to go here. We're going to need to create, okay, another two, but down here, while these are highlighted, we're just going to do a Control D again. Okay. Okay, and see for this right here, we're going to need to grab another node here called an enum switch or an enum parameter. That's what we're calling it. And we're just going to leave it as default for now because we have a lot of code that we're going to implement, but we're going to make it to where it's nice and easy. So we're going to drag off of here, and we're going to get something called a mesh section switch. Now this is what's going to allow us to switch between the male and the female clothing. So right here, what we're going to do is we're going to highlight all this right here, and we're going to duplicate that. So now the reason we're duplicating it, this is going to be for the actual shirts. This is going to be for the pants. Okay. And then we're going to duplicate it one more time. And this is going to be for the actual shoes. So we got male and female shoes and shirt, and male and female everything. Okay. So now we're going to back out a little bit. I'm going to take this because this is just going to be our clothing. We're going to pull this down right here, and we're going to move this over here like this. And then now we can go ahead and we can add our meshes to these particular ones. So I'm going to do the female first. So we're going to start by going to our Metahuman folder. We're going to do that same filter again. And we're going to do the skeletal mesh. Okay. Okay. So for this first one, we're going to use Eve's face. So that's what we're looking for. So I got Eve's face right here. We're going to highlight it, and we're going to do this for all the different ones. We're going to select the node and make sure you're not doing the version bridge, but you're doing, I'm going to scroll this up a bit, the node properties, and we're going to add that. So that should look familiar, right? Okay. Same process like we did earlier. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to grab Adam's face, and we're going to put that onto this one and just populate it. So we're going to populate everything And we're going to get the female body, which is going to be Eve's body, the one without clothes, right here. And we're going to do the same exact thing, just add it to the skeleton mesh. Same thing for the male body. We're just going to continue on and do that. Now, we're going to go all the way down here. And right here, we're just going to do the males on the top and the female on the bottom. And we're going to just implement the same thing like we did up there. So let's go ahead. We're going to grab the male shirt and we're going to put that here. And just the same process, okay? Female shirt, because we want the male and female shirt to switch together. Now we need the pants. So we want the male pants here. Get the female pants. Like so. And then, of course, we want the shoes. So male shoes first. And then next, we're going to do the female shoes. Like so. Okay. Now, we're going to give ourselves a little space right here. And what we want to do is we want to drag off of this here. Okay. We're going to start with the male and female body, right? So we're going to, well, actually, you know what? Let's do this. Yeah, we can start with the body. So we're going to add these real quick. So we're going to do this like this right here. We're going to type in mesh section. And that, we're going to select that. Now, the reason we're doing it this way, and we can't just copy and paste it over, is because this mesh produces this mesh section, which produces the material, okay? So we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to do a mesh section. And it's going to be the exact same thing, but this one's going to be particular to that one. Now, go up to the top here, and right here, this is going to be important. We're not going to populate all of these. We're only going to populate the LOD 0, okay? Now, the reason for this, it just means level of detail. And the 0 means it's like the highest quality. Now, as you go to LOD 1, 2, and 3, it'll actually progressively, it'll make the mesh look not as detailed. This is used for, LOD 3 is used for like a further away mesh. And that's how Unreal kind of does it. It kind of loads it. If you set it up that way, you can load that out. But now the LODs, this is what Nanite is actually replacing. So what Nanite does is it starts out with LOD like this and then scales it down to this. So you don't have to have multiple meshes. So that's what's going on here. So we're only going to do LOD 0 to LOD 0 here, okay? So let me show you that. So we're going to do this here. We're going to type in mesh section. Okay, but in this instance, we're going to do something slightly different. We're going to highlight this, right? We're going to do a Control-C, and then we can hit the mesh section here. And the reason we're doing that is so we can make our workflow easy. We're just going to drag, okay, so right here, we're going to just move this up a bit. We're just going to drag off of here and do a Control-V and hit the Enter key. And what that allows us to do is to quickly add these different mesh sections. So Control-V and Enter, and we're just going to do that the whole way down. Now, I'm not going to have you sit here and watch me do that. Well, actually, before we even do that, let's make sure I'm going to fill these in real quick. I'm just going to speed up a little bit, and then I'm going to do it for the female, and I'm also going to do it for the male. And while you're at it, you can watch this and then do it yourself, okay? All right, so here we go. Okay, so as you can see, it was a little bit of work, but So what we're going to do right here is we're going to just move this up just a little bit like this. And now for this right here, same thing with the female or the male right here. Now you can see I've only done it to where you can see I've only done it at load 0 on all the meshes. So even when you look at the body, only the 0 is done. That's it. So take a look. Okay. Now, the other thing we're going to need to do is we're going to have to create something called a mesh component. So let's go ahead and do that. We start off with this top one here, and we drag off of here, and we just can type in mesh component. Okay. We're going to change this one, and we're going to call this one the female. We're going to do the same thing over here. We're going to call this the male. Oh, sorry. Got a mesh component. Got ahead of myself. Okay. So mesh component. And we're going to name this one to male. Move this over here. And now what we're going to need to do is we're going to also do that for the rest. Now you see this right here. We're going to move the bodies to where they need to be. And you want to make sure you do the face for the guiding of this, okay? Now, while we're here, just so it doesn't look so complicated and so congested, we're just going to select this here, and we're going to do this for all of them while we're here, okay? And we're going to get rid of the pins that we don't need. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. So hide all pins under the Pins tab. Now, with that being said, we need to connect all these meshes to the component. So just follow as I'm doing here. Okay. Now we're going to need to also set up another enum parameter. We're going to call this enum parameter. And we're going to call this gender, okay? And we're going to drag off of here. And in this instance, we're going to do a component switch. Now, if you notice when you highlight this in the node properties, nothing is going on. All the properties are done here within the gender, within the parameter here. So what you can do here is under the values, you're going to put 2 instances here. Actually, yeah, 2. And what we're going to do is we're going to name the first one male, and then we're going to name the next one female. And we're going to connect them up. And just double click, make a reroute node just to neaten it up. It makes it easier for troubleshooting later. Now, we're going to take this part here and we're going to connect this to the component on the character base, and we can go ahead and hit compile and save. Now, the one thing I forgot to do, which is we're going to need to highlight the female face, and we're going to need to go to the face right here by hitting this button here. And while that's highlighted, we're going to select the female mesh component, and we need to, in the node properties, add the reference skeletal mesh, okay? We're going to have to do that for the male as well. Oh, select that, and then go to the male face, and it's highlighted. And then select that and add it. Now we can do a compile and save. And you can see right here, we've got our character. And before I go any deeper into this part, I'm going to finish setting up the clothing. So here's what we need to do. All right, so we've got some parameters here. We're going to need to name them. We're going to start with the first one. We're just going to call this chest, because that's where the shirt goes. We're going to call this one pants. Or no, I'm sorry, legs. Let's call this legs, because we're going to put pants on the legs. And then the final one, we're going to name it shoe or feet. Sorry, we're going to name it feet, because that's where shoes go. And we're going to do a compile and save. Now, for each one of these, we're going to go back to the chest. We're going to need 3 different values. So let's just go ahead and do that real quick. 1, 2, 3. And you can see it's populating right here. So just keep doing that. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Now, we're using this first one here. Let me show you. We're going to go back to the chest. We're going to open these up, and we got to name them. So for the first one, we're going to name it none, because that's going to be where there's no clothing. The second one, we're going to just go ahead and name it male shirt. And then for this one here, for the next index, we're going to name it female shirt. Like so. And we're going to do that for the rest. So none. Male pants. Oh. And female pants. And the feet. None. No, didn't spell that good. None. Male shoes. Female shoes. Okay. And we want to make sure we just go ahead and connect all these up to their corresponding places here. So like so. Make sure we do a compile and a save. Okay, now for this next part, we're going to need to duplicate the clothing because we want the male and the female to have a set of this clothing. So we're going to just highlight this right here. And we're going to do our same move we did before. Well, actually, while we're here, let's go ahead and move this up to where it's a little bit closer. And we're going to just hover over here, and we're going to do a Control D. Like so. Now, before we do anything, we're going to need to go in here and change these tags to differentiate them. So for the female, we're just going to add a large F at the end of the particular parameter. That will help us differentiate. So we're going to do that for each and every one of these for the female. Like so. Okay, now the other thing that we're going to need to do is we're going to need to change this parameter here to something else. So for instance, we're going to need to change this clothing here. We're going to make a duplicate copy of the male clothing. So in order to do that, we're going to go ahead and we're going to hit the search function here. And we're going to select all of these here, okay? Because we want the male or the female to have a version of these clothes. So we're going to do a Control D right here, okay? And what we want to do is at the end of these, I'm just going to do an F2, and I'm going to do the same thing to differentiate them. I'm going to do a Control F. I'm sorry, yeah, a Shift F. And then we're going to do that for the rest of them. So everywhere you see the 1, we're just going to put F. Okay, F2, F. And all this becomes important later when it comes to tagging because we're going to be using the mesh to clip node and the mesh to transform node, and we need a way to differentiate them. Now, while we're here, for the male clothing under the female, we're going to need to switch that. So we're going to need, in this case, the torso F. So here's torso F, and this is for the chest, and we're just going to hit that, and you see there's an F there. So we're going to do that for the pants as well. So remember, the male ones are at the top. So we do F, and this is going to be the female version, okay? And like so. Same thing for the shoes. It's going to have its own female, male shoes, like this. Oh, wait, hold on. I did the wrong one. Here we go. And you can always fix that by just going back over it. Okay. Do a compile and a save. Now, if you notice here, in order for this to work, we're going to have to hook all these up to the component of their respective character. So we're just going to go here, and we're just going to, well, how about not drag the node? Let's just drag the pin, And we're going to connect this to the female because this is all to their body here. And then we got 3 more to do, and we're going to do that for the male as well. And then we can do a compile and a save. Now, if you notice over here, we can actually, you can see the parameters. Now, if you have this selected, it's not going to show anything. So if you unselect it, it will show something. So if you look here, we're going to scroll this here, and you look in the viewport, we can actually change from male to female. We can change to a female shirt. We can change to a male shirt. And then we're going to adjust all this later, okay? But I wanted to show you that you can actually view it here. Now, while we're here, we're going to need some children. So we're going to drag off of here, and we're going to create a child object. And what we're going to do is we're going to also have some transform. They're going to be called transform mesh in mesh, okay? We're going to add 2 of those. Well, actually, before we add that, let's go ahead. We're going to drag off of the transform here, and we need a parameter. So we're going to need the transform parameter, like so, okay? And we're going to move that over here, and we're just going to go ahead and duplicate that. So we need 2 of those, okay? Now, we're going to also drag off of here because we want to add the child here, like that. And what we need to do is we're going to go ahead and do some naming. So for the naming here, we're just going to name this male. Let's see, we're going to call it M. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. We're going to need to duplicate this again. So we're going to duplicate this one more time, because we're only going to do the male and female pants. That's the only ones we're going to transform and make like duplicatable. So we're going to do that one more time here. So we can duplicate this and like so. And we're going to name this. So we're going to call this M from male. And we're going to say shirt to, we're going to say female shirt. So we're going to say F shirt to male body, okay? And we're going to keep that consistent here. So we're going to do that again. We're going to say female pants to male body, so M body, like so. And we're going to keep that naming scheme all the way until we get to here. So let's do that for our female. Oh, sorry. Let's go ahead and name the object so we don't get confused. We're going to call this male clothes. I'm not going to put any spaces because all this is kind of relevant with tagging. So we're going to just go ahead and do that. Same thing here. We're going to just call this female clothes. Like so. And right here, let's go ahead and do the same naming scheme like we did earlier. So we're going to do a male shirt, so M shirt, to female body. And we're going to select the next one, and we're going to do male pants to female body. We'll keep everything consistent. All right. We're almost done with our consumable object, but let's go ahead and do a compile and save just for safety of it. And then we're going to need to do one more because not only do I want to show you how to use the transform mesh to mesh node, but I also want to show you how to use the clip node. So we're going to drag off of here, and we're going to create another child object. Oh, I'm sorry, not a child object. My mistake. We're going to make a group object. So it should be object group, and we're going to name it clip group. Okay, and we're going to leave it as toggle and everything. Now here we're going to need 2 children, so we're going to drag off of here. We're going to create a child object. We're going to name this male clip. Male clip, and then also female clip. Make another child object. Female clip. Okay. So for this, we're going to take the male, and we're only going to deal with this right here. So we're going to put the male one here. And for the clip group, let's see. Well, actually, let's move all this to the side here. Organize the graph a little bit. And we're going to put the female one here. Okay. Put the group here. And we can neaten it up a little bit. Like so. Okay. So we're going to do a compile and a save again. Okay, so in order to reveal at runtime these different attributes and different clothing, we're gonna have to go back to our base object. We're gonna select it, and inside the base object, we're gonna need to make several parameters. Okay, so what you're gonna do is, while this is selected, you're going to make a state. So we're gonna do a gender state, which is gonna let us know about male and female. We can minimize these right here. And we can open up the states, and we're going to make a chest state for the chest, one for the pants or legs, and then one for the actual feet. So let's go ahead and start with the gender state. So right here, we're going to name it, because it's a state, gender state. Okay. We're going to add a runtime of gender. Okay, that's going to give that enum parameter right there. Keep us to where we're not confused. We're going to minimize that and hit the 1 here, and then we're going to do a chest state. Okay. Now for here, we're going to do we're going to have 1 run parameter, 2 run parameters. The reason for that is because we got 2 different chests, one for the male, one for the female. So we're going to go for chest for the regular one, and then chest F for the female. Okay. Minimize that, and we're going to do that for the legs as well. So let's go ahead and call it legs state. And we're going to add 2 more. And we're going to add the legs for the male, which is just going to be regular legs. And then we can also add the female, legs F. And then finally, let's go ahead and do the feet state. We're going to add 2 more again. We're going to add the feet, and then we're going to add feet F. Like so, and do a compile and a save. Okay, next we're going to need to go back into our content folder, and we're going to go back right here. And right here, we're going to select this and right click, and we're going to create a new instance. Okay, now we can just hit save. And that should do that. And it works similar to an anim instance for animations. For people who are more seasoned, that's kind of what this is about. So this is where we're going to pull this into our blueprint for the third person, okay? Now, speaking of third person, let's go into the third person. Because right now, let's go back here just real quick. So you can remove this runtime thing here. And if you notice, you can actually put the male. Okay, so you got the male or the female. You can switch here. And this is how, like I said, the blueprint's going to actually see it, okay? Like so. And we can switch out the different ones. And then we can reset parameters, and it'll put everything back at default, which is male and the none. That's why we did the none in the other, in the actual customizable object graph. Okay, so let's go ahead and move to the third person. Okay, so here's what we're working towards. So we're going to swap the male and the female, and then we're also going to swap between the meshes. So if you're enjoying the content, subscribe. If you like the video, then like the video. All right, let's get back to it. Now we're going to open up this third person blueprint. We can, open it up. And then right here, we're going to select the character mesh. And we're going to add, this is the part that's going to interact. So we're going to do a customizable skeleton, okay? We're going to do a compile. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, you don't want to compile yet. That's my fault. But if you did, it's okay. Basically, what you got to do with the customizable skeleton while it's highlighted, you want to go to a customizable skeleton component, and you want to select the actual customizable instance we made, which is right here. Okay. Now let's do a Control-Shift-S, because if you look right here in the lower right corner, we have some unsafe stuff going on. So just do a Control-Shift-S first, and then do a compile and do a save again. Okay, so for our next step, we're going to need to make a function real quick. So if you're looking right here, let me go ahead and grab this and drag this up. You're going to hit the plus sign here. You're going to make a function. We're going to call this update skeleton. There we go. And I guess it's update skeletal component, but we're just going to call it update skeleton. And right here, you can drag off of here. Or actually, first, we're going to have to grab the actual customizable skeletal mesh. And we're going to drag off of here. And we're going to do a set component name. Okay. Hook that up. And we're going to need one more thing here. We're going to need to update the skeletal component. So we're going to have to update it. And we don't need the result one. We need this one. So we're going to go ahead and set that up right there. And this component is just going to make it easier. So we can just drag right here and have the name here. And it'll produce the actual variable spot here. Okay. We can do a compile and a save. Okay. Next, we're going to need to add some variables. So for the first variable, we're just going to call this mail clipping, and then question mark. Do one more here. Oh, I'm sorry. We don't want to do a local variable. That's my fault. We're going to delete that. We just want to do regular variables. So we're going to do one. Let me delete that. We're going to do, let's see, right here. We're going to just name this to male clipping. And then we're going to do a question mark. We're going to do that one more time. And we're just going to call this female clipping. And that's a question mark. Next, we're going to need to add one more variable here. And we're going to call this skeleton name. And we're going to change this from a Boolean into a name, okay? We're going to do a compile and a save. Okay, so now we're going to go back to our event graph, and we're going to set up the rest of the third-person character. So we're going to just go a little bit up here, and then we're going to need to do an event begin play. And we're also going to need to grab our skeletal mesh right here, customizable. And we're going to drag off of here, and we're going to do a customizable. It's the instance. So we're going to do a get customizable instance, but we want the actual pure right here, the pure function. And we can just set that here, drag that over here. And what we want to do is we want to set, at the begin play, we want to set the default values. Not the value, but default values. So all the values from the customizable instance will be set. That's what we want to do for that. Do a compile and a save. Now, we're going to need 3 keys. So we're going to need the 1 key. We're going to need the 2 key. And we're going to need the 3 key. I don't want to use the debug key, but we could, but I just want to use the regular key. We're going to just move this up a little bit. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to highlight this right here. And we're just gonna hit the Control D for duplicate again. We're gonna do that one more time right here. And we're gonna make, well, actually, you know what? We don't have to do it that way. We could just do the Control D here. And then what we need to do is we're gonna have to add we're gonna have to set current state. We're going to set an integer parameter. So let's pull that up. And then we're going to need to update the skeleton. Or update. Do an update for the, yeah, right here. Yeah, see. Update skeleton mesh. Like so. We're going to need to set the name. So what you want to do is you want to hold down the Alt button and do a left click and just drag that onto the event graph here. And we're going to set that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to grab this update skeleton function we made earlier. We're going to hook this up and like so. Now, what we want to do is we're going to do another duplicate. I know you guys are probably getting tired of that, but it's the most efficient workflow I know of. We're going to copy that. And then right here in the middle, we're just going to do a Control D again, and that's going to give us that. And we're going to make sure we neaten this up a little bit, just because you want to make sure your graph is somewhat neat so that way you can troubleshoot easily. Now, right here, for these two here, we're going to need to name these gender state, because that's the current state we're going to set it to. That's what we had set up in our customizable object. Make sure you have it spelled right. For the parameter name, we're going to do gender, right? And then we're going to do male for this top one. For the bottom one here, we're going to do gender. And then for this parameter, we're going to do female. Okay, so yeah, so basically when you hit the 1 and 2 key, it's going to set the state and it's going to set it to that particular male or female mesh, okay? And then as we go here, obviously we want to set the skeletal component name. This is actually this actual component, so we're going to do male. And then right down here, we're going to do female. Let's try that again. We're going to do a compile and a save. Okay, so we're going to need to grab this stuff again here. So we're going to just hold down the control button. We're going to select this, 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 and this. We're going to need that. And yeah, let's see. Yeah, we're probably going to need this as well. All right, so we're going to move over here. We're just going to do a Control D again. Okay, and right here, we're going to disconnect this. We do need the update skeletal mesh, but we're going to move it to the side, and we're going to duplicate this right here. And, you know, by the Control D, and we're going to need 2 of these nodes here, these integer nodes here, and we're going to need to update whatever we do here, okay? But now, before we can do anything else, we're going to need to make a customizable, or we're just typing customizable event, and we're going to add that here, okay? Now, I know this is going to seem kind of redundant, but we're going to connect this up, and we're leaving everything like this for now, but we're going to have to change all this. But first, we need to grab all this stuff here. Hold on. Yeah, we're gonna have to duplicate this a lot of times. So we're going to copy this here, or select it, do a Control D, okay? And right now we're not really worried about the naming conventions. We're gonna just do a Control D again, but we're gonna need this for each one, okay? So we're gonna need to copy all this again, okay? Well, first take a look so you can see what we got going on, okay? And we're gonna move over here and we're gonna do a Control D again, because this first one is going to be for the shirts, this one's going to be for the pants, And then this final one is going to be for the shoes. Okay, like so. Okay, so now we're going to need to name all these things. Okay, so we're going to start with the customizable here, and we're just going to name this, wear male shirt. And then we're just going to go down and do all these events. Next one, wear female shirt. Then for this one right here, we're just going to say clear shirt, because that's what's going to cause us to get rid of everything. So we'll start from there. And we're just going to go, I'm just going to go through, I think this might be easier just for us to do it this way. So we're just going to name all of our customizable events. So for this one, we're going to say wear male pants. Wear female pants. And then clear pants. Oh, okay, I kind of mixed it up. So, okay, that's okay. So here's what we can do. I'm just gonna grab this and just drag it over right here. Okay, and I guess I can grab this whole thing. I'm gonna move it over just to get it a little bit closer to our other stuff in the graph. Okay, and then I'm gonna go back and do the same thing here. Wear male shoes. Wear female shoes. Clear shoes. And right here, okay, so yeah, we can do a compile and save real quick. Now it's going to be slightly off because we have to, hook up some things here. So as you can tell, I didn't hook up the second parameter, so we're just going to go ahead and hook that up. So it's always good to compile and save just to see where you made some mistakes. So make sure that you hook up the customizable object instance function, a pure function, to the second parameter because we didn't do that earlier. So do that for all of them. Make sure you get that second parameter, second integer parameter hooked up. It's important. Do a compile and a save. Okay, so for this next part, we're going to have to go ahead and name our parameters, and so we know where everything's at. So we're going to start by, first of all, it's not going to be called gender state. So for this one, we're just going to call this the chest state. And I'm just going to go through and do all these. Okay, next we're going to need the parameter name. So we're just going to type in the word chest because that's what we're dealing with. And we're going to copy that, Control C, and I'm just going to put it as far as the parameter names. Okay, and then, okay, so right here on this bottom one for the clear, this is kind of easy. We're just going to put none for that, okay? Okay. And then now remember the female is using a different parameter. So we can still do the control, but then we want to add a F at the end of it. Use a capital F. Make sure you keep everything the same. F. And then we're going to need to change this to the different ones. So for instance, we know that this is going to be male shirt, right? So we're going to male shirt. So all these are going to be male shirt right here on the top because that's the first one we did in our code. Next, we're going to do the female shirt. Make sure you spell it right. Okay. Do a compile and a save. So whenever we trigger these events here, it's going to set these parameters and then it's going to update the skeleton. Now we need to do that for the pants as well. So let's go ahead and continue. Okay, right here is leg state. You know what, let me get a little closer in there. There we go. So legs state. And make sure you're careful with this. Like if you do leg in one part and do legs on another, you're not gonna match up and then sometimes your code won't work. So be careful of that. Leg state. And then we're gonna just go ahead and do legs. And remember, we gotta do legs F over here for the female version. Legs F. And remember for this third one here, we're just gonna do none because that's gonna be the one that allows us to clear everything, okay? Okay, like so. Oh, let's make sure you spell it right and the caps are right. Now, since we're doing legs, it's gonna be the pants, so we're gonna do male pants here. Make sure we get in there, male pants. Male pants. And then for this next one, we're gonna do female pants. Okay, like so. All right, we're gonna do a compile and a save. And you know, while we're here, let me just go ahead and I'm gonna take a break here for a second just to show you guys this. So, all right, so that's what it should look like. And we're gonna move on. All right. Now we gotta do the feet state. Let's go ahead and do the feet state. And we're gonna do this for each of these. And then remember, we're gonna do feet for all these. And then we gotta do the female version of feet, feet F. Now we're gonna need to do male shoes. And then we're gonna need to do female shoes. And then for this part here, remember, we're gonna clear everything, so we're just gonna do none. Okay. So that's what it should look like. Let's see, move that over a little bit. There we go. Take a second, copy that. And we're gonna do a compile and a save, and we're gonna move on. All right. We're gonna need to go back to our number 3 key here, and we're gonna drag off of here, and we're gonna do a clear. We're gonna type in clear shirt. So we're gonna do a clear shirt, because that'll activate that logic. We're gonna do a clear pants. So whenever we hit the 3 key, it's gonna clear all these different things. And then we're gonna do a clear shoes. And we're gonna do a compile and a save. Okay, so while we're here, I want to test out the functionality, but there's a mistake here that it's not even a mistake. It's just something that we have to fix, and I'm going to show you that real quick. So you may have had this problem in other projects. Let's go ahead and go to our third-person map, right? We're going to hit the play button. And you can see here it doesn't show anything. That's just how this Mutable plugin works. I didn't automatically make it spawn, but you hit the 1 key, and you've got your male character. 2, you've got your female character. Now, watch this. Who's done this? Well, I'm going to show you how to fix this real quick. I know some of you have probably figured this out, but if you haven't, I'm going to show you how to fix that now. So let's go ahead and hit the escape button. And then we're going to go back to our third person. We're going to go, let's see, to our mesh. We're going to highlight that. We're going to bring out our details panel, right? We're going to need to go to this animation class right here. We're going to select that folder, and we're going to use the parent class of the animation blueprint to adjust this. And what you do is once you open that up, you're going to go and you're going to open up the anim graph. In the anim graph, you're going to open up the control rig. Now, while we're here, we're going to go into where it's the full body control rig here. And we're going to, instead of it being pelvis for the root, we're going to use the animation root, okay? And we're going to do a compile and a save. And we can go ahead, we can close out the control rig. We can close out the animation blueprint. And let's go ahead and test that and see if we fixed it. Hit the play button, hit 1, and now your character moves. It was just the control rig's root bone was in the way. That's all it was. So it should work between both characters. Okay. Escape out of this and moving on. Okay, so now for our next thing that we're going to do, we're going to go into our content folder. We're going to create a folder here. We're going to call it clothes, because these are the clothes that we're going to pick up inside the level. Now, right here, we're going to right click. We're going to set the color just so we can spot it easier. I'm going to set it to a nice purple. You can set it whatever you want to make it easy to see. Hit OK. And inside this folder, we're going to right click and we're going to do a blueprint class, call it actor. Now, we're going to just call this BP underscore male shirt. Okay. Control Shift S, and we're going to double click it. And inside this particular file here, what we're going to do is we're going to add a skeleton mesh, and we're just going to call this outfit mesh. Hit enter, and then we're going to do the same thing, and we're going to add a box. We're going to add a collision box. And we're going to call this outfit box. Okay. And then what we want to do is we're going to go into the graph here. We don't need any of this. We can just delete that. And we're going to go to the outfit box. We're going to select it, and inside the details, we're going to scroll down until we get to something called overlap on component begin overlap. We're going to drag off of here, and we're going to cast to third person character. Okay? Do a compile and a save. Okay. So yeah, so now that we've got this basically, I'm just going to close this for now, and we're going to reopen it in a second. And actually, yeah, we can leave this stuff up, but what we want to do is inside our closed folder, we're going to we're going to need to duplicate this. So let's go ahead and just duplicate it. See one. So let's see, we got the male and female shirt. We're going to duplicate again. Duplicate again. Male and female pants. Duplicate again. Duplicate again, which is Control D, by the way. And that's going to give us all of our shoes and our shirts and everything. And we can adjust them each manually, okay? Now, so we don't get confused, let's just go ahead and start naming them. So we got the male shirt. Let's go ahead and highlight this one, hit F2, and we can call this blueprint underscore female shirt. And F2 again, male pants. Oh, make sure you keep your naming conventions consistent. So BP underscore male pants. And then let's see, so we've got that. We've got F2 again. We're going to have female pants. So BP underscore female pants. Then we're going to need to hit F2 again. We're going to do a BP underscore male shoes. And then finally, female shoes. Control Shift S. Now we want to take this first one here, and we're going to do a shift and left click and select all these. Right click and edit. And we're just going to go back to our content folder again. And we're going to go back into our Metahumans. And we're going to select the skeletal meshes again. Oh, we can reset the filter. And then go ahead and do the skeletal mesh. All right. So now that we've gotten this here, first thing we're going to do is we're going to start from left to right. So we'll start with the female pants. So as you can see right here, we're going to drag off of here, and we're just going to put wear and then female pants. Okay. And then we're going to go to our viewport. We're going to select the outfit mesh and open this up. We're going to highlight the female pants mesh. And then right here under mesh, we're just going to add it and then adjust it to make sure that the box is overlapping it, just to make it like so. And then we could just do a compile and then a save, and we're set for that. Now, we can go ahead and close that one. That should be all set. And we're just going to do that for each one, okay? Same thing, female shirt. Wear shirt. Outfit mesh. After you highlight it, and then hit the skeleton mesh, like so. Compile, save. Okay, now that we've done all that, and we've added all of our clothes, now we need to add that to the level. So let's go ahead and do that. So right here, we're going to add them right here. So go to the content, and we're just going to go ahead and we're going to reset that filter. And we're going to go to our content folder and into our clothes folder. And we're going to do a left click here and then hold down shift and do that to grab all of our meshes. Oh, wait, hold on. Yeah. Like so. And we're just going to drag it out right here. Now we just need to raise this up a bit. hit R for the for E for the rotate to where the meshes are facing us. And then we can just hit the W key again. And we're going to hit this right here. And we're just going to move the clothes over to where we can see them. So I hit the arrows here. Like this. And you want to give them a little bit of space. Okay, so the male shoes we're going to put on the male side. And that right there. And that's basically what you want. So just, we can move them a little bit closer there. There we go. And like so. Then you want to do a save. Okay, so before we continue, let me go back to the third person for a second. And I want to check something because I know the clothing for the clearing wasn't working correctly necessarily. So, okay, so let's see what we got here. Okay, so as you can see here, I made a slight mistake. So we're going to have to put the female shirt right here. So again, like you saw, I just had an F there. So if that didn't happen, then basically it wouldn't clear that shirt. It wouldn't make it to its default. So we can do a compile and a save. And then now we can go back to our third person. Now, while we're here, we're going to go ahead and test out what we have so far. Okay, let's go ahead and do that. Hit the play button. Now, like I said, you're going to have to hit the 1 or 2 keys in order to bring up the different characters. So as you can see here, if you walk up, you can pick up the different characters' items, okay? Now, if you also hit the 2 key, you see that it switches between meshes. Now, unfortunately, I don't know why, but the female character, we're going to clear that for a second. Oh, I'm going to have to go back and obviously we didn't clear the female-male thing here, so let's go ahead and do that. Hit escape. Go back to the third person. And I didn't change this right here. So that's what happened. So we got to put the male shirt here. So like I said, naming is very important when it comes to this mutable plugin. Okay. All right. Let's try that again. All right. So we're going to go, let's see, to the male, add all this up. Okay. Well, okay, it's not clearing the male shirt, so let me go back. Okay, so you get to see me make lots of mistakes in this video. That's why they get long. So right here, it should be chest. That should be the parameter name, like at the top, chest. So if you see up here, it's chest, and at the bottom here, this one should be chest F for the female, okay? So we're gonna do a compile and save, and that should cover that. Let's go ahead and double check it, make sure our stuff is working. So we're gonna hit the 1 key, and again, we're going to do all this, clear it, hit 2, do the same thing, all that. Again, I can't stop the transforms. It's something with the shoes or the jacket that makes the actual female mesh stretch out. So perhaps in a later video, I could figure that out and we can fix that. But now, we clear that. Okay, so let's make sure that the female can put all of her clothes on. And then we're going to hit clear, and like so. And we can put the female clothes on again and hit the 1 key, and the male has the clothes on, and it looks not so great. But we're going to do some things to fix that. So hit the clear, and we're going to hit escape. And from this point, we're going to have to go back to our customizable object. Okay, so right here, this is where we control the resizing of the mesh, okay? But for this, we're going to have to tag these different ones, okay? So to start out with, we're going to need to make sure that okay, so this is for the male clothing. So what we want is we want to select this here, And we're going to have to add something called a tag, okay? And that's just basically the mesh section that we're going to be transforming, okay? So right here, we're just going to type in torso. And what we want here is, okay, so for the male, we want to use the female shirt to the male body. So we want the female, so we want the torso female, and that's going to be the one that's for the male. So we select that one. And same thing with this pants to the female. Female pants. We're going to grab the female pants. And for that, we just type in legs. And we want to grab the legs of the female, okay? Right here. Now, for the female clothes, we're going to do a different tag. We're going to highlight this one. We're going to select it here. And now we need the male. So we're going to need the torso. And we're going to need the male, okay? So we need torso male, but F, because that's the female's version. And then we're going to need the legs. And we're going to need the legs of the male. Let's see, men's legs. Okay, I don't remember if I added that. So let me check something real quick. Let me double check. Okay. Oh yeah. So yeah, we want the male shirt. Okay. Male, and we want the female legs. Yeah, so we did add that. Okay. So let's double check that again, because this has to be right. Yeah, okay, so we're gonna do a compile and a save. Okay. Okay, so in order for us to save time, I'm gonna go ahead and do some pre-selected values. So now we don't want to do anything within here. Like, I mean, you've got, let's see, you've got a transform here, but this is not where we change that. We want to change it inside the parameter thing here. So we're going to start with this one. Let's see. So select the default values. And I'm going to just enter in the codes real quick. So right here, we're going to do a 7 for this one. And then for the actual scale, we're going to do 1.1. And generally in this one, I don't know what's going on with the Z scale, but it doesn't seem to be working correctly. And I don't know if I'm doing something wrong or if the plugin's just experimental and that's what's going on. So we're going to see what's going on with that. But now we've got that. Let's go and move on to the next one. And remember, we're changing only the parameter, not the mesh. All right, so for this next value, the only thing we're changing is we're going to do 1.1 here and 1.1 here. So like I said, you're in general, on scaling, you're not going to really mess with the Z, at least at this time. Okay, moving on to the male shirt to female body. And that's going to be, let's see, right up here, we're going to do a -7. And then we can leave all the rest of this the same down here. Then we're going to move to the final one here. Now, this is going to have some slightly weirder values. So we're going to do a 1.05, 1.05. And then right here, we're going to do 0.95. I know I said don't mess with that, but this one makes it look a little bit better. So we're just going to do a compile and a save. Okay, so let's go back to the actual game map, and let's go ahead and take a look and see how that looks. All right, so obviously it's the male clothing, the male doing the female clothing. Okay, it's looking a little bit better, but we got the clipping issue. And we've got the male pants, or the female yoga pants, right? Now let's see what happens when we put our clothes back on, and the male clothes seem to work, but there's still some clipping. It's slight. Okay, and then as far as the drawstrings sticking out, that's something to do with the cloth simulation. I don't really know how to do that yet, but when I do learn, I'll make a video. Let's hit 2, and notice that we can put the male clothes on and they look a little bit better, but there's obviously some serious clipping there. So let's go ahead and clear that. Make sure we put the female clothes on, right? Male clothes. But like I said, I don't know why, but sometimes it changes the transform. And hopefully I'll figure that out in a later video. And there we go. And now, so the male and the female can wear each other's clothing, even though they're completely different meshes. All right. Let's go back and see if we can clean up some of this clipping here. All right. Because I've set this this graph up to where you can actually add and do more things with it. But I'm only going to deal with as far as the female, I'm only going to alter. I'm going to do I'm going to fix the clipping. So we're going to do a clip with mesh node, and we're going to add that right to the default to this female clip child thing we made earlier. Okay. And we're going to do that same thing, but we're going to, okay, so make sure you're attaching it to the male hoodie or whatever your male shirt is to this clip with mesh node, because that's what's going to change it, okay? And we're going to add that to the child's modifier. Next, we're going to do the same thing, but with the male, we're just going to do the female one, okay? I mean, I'm not going to alter all the different clothing, but just the shirt and the hoodie. So let's go ahead and do the clip. Or clip with mesh, like so, and we're going to hook that up as well. Okay, we're going to do a compile, and it may take a second, and a save. Okay. Now, with this, there's some settings in here that we have to fix as well, and I'm going to show you that now. Okay, I almost forgot. Before we go into that, let's just go into the actual female body simplified mesh here. And see, the reason that I keep changing this mesh here is because the tag is exactly the same. If you look here, the MI body synthesized is for the female, and the male are named exactly the same. So what I want to do is I want to go here and go into that particular mesh, and we're just going to change it, okay? So we're going to do like we did before, and we're going to back this up, and we're going to type in female. For that, I'm just removing the female name so that way we can tell the difference. So when we're searching for the tag, same thing with this. I don't have to do it, but I would rather go ahead and fix the label of that. So we're going to go ahead and hit F2, and we don't need this simplified here. We're just going to call this one the male. Okay. This is going to be important for our clipping, so we can, because remember, the way Mutable works is it actually removes the vertices underneath, and it won't know it unless you tag it right, okay? So, all right. Now we can go back to our clip mesh node, or clip mesh with mesh, and we're going to add that tag, okay? And all you have to do is type in body, so body, and you can see here where we named it. We just select that, and then we have the body. And then we want to fix the transform of this, because basically this transform here, it covers, like, it shows what parts to get rid of. So right now I'm just going to show you this preset stuff I've made, and we can go from there. So we're going to go 1.25 for the scale. And then right here we're going to do a 1.1. And then for up top, we're going to do a 1.75. And then for here, we're going to do a -2.5. Okay? And we can compile, and we can save that, okay? Now that's for the female one. For the male clip, we're going to need to go over here. We're going to highlight the clipping mesh here. Now we're going to add the male body, so we're going to do body. And obviously, we're going to select the body, male. And then we're going to put some of these values in here. Let's see what we got. Okay. 1.4, 1.85, and then 1.1. Okay. Okay, so for the location, we're going to do minus 0.22, or actually 2.3. Let's just say 2.3. Go. Minus 0.23. Oh, wait. Make sure, yeah. Because if you make the location everything, it just throws it all out of whack. I mean, you can fix it, but yeah, just make sure you do it correctly. And then we've got a 0.63 here. And then here, we've got a minus 0.29, sorry. So that's a minus 0.29, okay? And then you want to compile and save. It may take a second because it's, yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna need you to come with me over to the actual Metahuman instance. And right here, make sure, okay, so we can reset the parameters, okay? And if you select the female, you'll notice that you got a female clip here, right? We can add the male shirt, right? And if we check this is because of the object, this is that toggle, it removes parts of it, okay? Now, it's not perfect, and the reason that this is like this is because I would have to also use another node called a deform mesh to mesh for clipping, and I haven't really got a chance to really play with it. But like I said, I just wanted to get you guys some familiarization with the transform node, transform to mesh, and the clip to mesh node, okay? All right, let's look at the female shirt. Okay, so same thing. So for the actual, we're gonna change the, well, let's just reset all parameters. We're gonna do the male, okay? And right here, we're going to do the actual female shirt. And you can see here, it's still clipping, but if we go ahead and we add this, it clears that up. Right. Now, it's not perfect. Like I said, I didn't really deform anything or anything, but all I did was we resized it with the transform, and we also got rid of the clipping. Okay? Now, we're going to reset all parameters. Now, here's the thing. In order for this to work in the game, we're going to have to go ahead and add something to the third person, and I'm going to show you that in a second. Okay, so while we're here, this is where we're going to need to add another type of thing here. So we're going to add something, but first, let's see. We're changing only the male and the female shirt. So because we want those vertices to disappear, we want them to actively disappear only when the shirt is active. So we're gonna hit Alt to disconnect this right here. Highlight that, move that to the side, and then right here we're just gonna drag off of here, and we're gonna look for a param bool. Okay. So we want this parameter bool. It's similar to the integer one. We want to set, see, the parameter bool. So set parameter bool. It should be this one. Okay. And actually, we don't want to connect that just yet. What we want to do is, yeah, we want to, let's see. Yeah, we're going to do that. Yeah, we're going to hold down the Alt. And this is going to be for the male clipping. We want to definitely add that. Okay. Put that there. And then just drag that right there. And make sure we connect it. Same thing. We want to do the same thing with the female. Hold down the Alt key and drag that onto the graph. Okay. Okay, so sorry, I forgot to, we can just duplicate that. Make sure we have the parameter bool. Now remember, we have to drag off of here and connect it so we're targeting the customizable instance, okay? Now, for this, we're gonna set it to true. Well, actually, while we're here, let's just go ahead and grab these two and we're gonna duplicate them. And under where the clear shirt is, right here, we're going to put these in here, like so. I think we're gonna need to set the bool parameter as well. So yeah, we're gonna need to set this one more time. So we're gonna duplicate it. I know it's a little bit messy, but the skeletal here, hook this up, and see, we're gonna put this one here, and we need to actually move this over, give it some room. Let's go, you know what, let's just go ahead and move all this over a little bit. Like so. And right here. And that should do it. Now, we want to make sure we set this to true because when we clear it, that's when we're going to set it to false, okay? We'll do a compile and a save. May take a second because depending on how fast your computer is. Okay, yeah, real quick, I forgot to hook this up, so let's go ahead and hook that up as well. For the parameter name, it's going to be called, there's two of them, so for this one, we're going to need to call this the male clip. And then also we're going to need to call this one the female clip. Now we're going to do another compile and save. And sometimes, like I said, I don't know if it's just because the plugins, experimental in some parts of it, but sometimes it can take a while for it to save, and it's okay. Just be patient. Again, so yeah, make sure that when you're doing stuff, you make sure that you're targeting the right thing. So in this instance, we're targeting the instance. Make sure you add that. Otherwise, you're going to get an error. Oh, wait. Let's see what we got here. Okay. And then now we do a compile save again. There we go. Okay, I'm seeing something else I forgot, which is okay. That's what we do. So we need to make sure we hook this up so it sets the bool from this set here. And then we also want to make sure we put the female clip here for the female, and then the male clip here for the male. So we can activate that. Compile and save. Okay, I noticed I made another mistake. So if you guys have made this mistake, let me show you what I did. So if you look closely here, this says target is audio parameter controlled interface. This is not the correct thing we need. What we need, we're going to drag off of here, and we're just going to type in set bool. We need the customizable instance object. See that? That's what we need. Okay. Now, what we can do is we're going to just go ahead and we're going to duplicate this. So we're going to Control D and duplicate that. Okay. And we can go ahead and connect these together. Okay. And we need to duplicate this one more time. Let's see. So, yeah. Yeah, we can duplicate. Well, yeah, we can just do this here, duplicate. And duplicate. Because we've set up the wrong thing here. So we could just Control C, Control V, and we can delete this particular one because yeah, that's not what we need. So we're going to hook this up. Same thing here, female clip, Control C, Control V, if you made the same mistake I did. Make sure target is consumable object. See the fine print? Make sure that's very important. And then make sure we hook up the bool values to be changed. And then same thing with this. So we're just gonna set these the same way. Okay. And we can delete this right here, move this up, connect it, get it into its executables. Okay. And let's connect up. There we go. And we're going to need to put the male clip with the male, the female with the female. Okay. Now, we need to make sure that we've targeted everything. So we got to grab off the customizable object instance, drag over here. This one's got it already. So we got to do this one. Okay. And we got to do that for all of them. Drag off of here and then connect it right here. Like so. And right here. Now we can do a compile and a save. Okay, so I've made a slight mistake here, and I can see it. So basically, whenever you wear the male shirt, so when the female wears the shirt, these two should be switched. So what we're going to do is we're going to just disconnect this. Let's see, by holding down the Alt. Okay, and move this one down here, move this one up here. Connect it up, because we want to clip the male on the female shirt and clip the female on the female shirt. We want to do vice versa because they have their own instance. So this should be the correct setup right here. Okay, so do a compile. Oh, almost forgot. Make sure we grab our target. Make sure we're targeting our parameter here, and then do a compile and a save. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look and test that out. Hit the play button. Now remember, we got to activate our mesh 1. So the only thing we've changed is the male and female shirt. So the male shirt, there's no clipping. You can't see his back exposed. We can hit the 3 key to clear it. We can hit the 2 key to go to the female. And as you can see, the female is not poking through the male shirt. So in essence, you've learned how to basically do the actual clip to mesh node, and you've learned how to use the transform node. Again, I'm sorry that this isn't quite a perfect work right now, but I figured getting some familiarity and learning about this process would help a lot of people out if they're wanting to play with the Mutable plugin within Runtime. So with that being said, if you could check out this video that I'm about to post on the screen here, this also relates to the workflow here. This could possibly help you in with this project. So thanks again. Take care.